So I'm gonna go over a deal that I'm trying to get under contract right now. I think I'm under contract, but there's just a time delay because of North Africa and Indiana. But I'm gonna go over the deal, why I think it's a great deal, the numbers, how they shake out, so you can kind of see if I was wholesaling this, what my offer would be, and why it would be what it is. So this is the property here. It's 211 Columbia Street in Mishawaka, Indiana. If you've seen some of our other videos, you'll know Mishawaka is a great little area. The border of South Bend, Mishawaka is kind of right over there, but just the whole Mishawaka area has a lot more of like a hometown feel. There's some parks, good restaurants, things like that. The school district is a little bit better, and so for all those reasons, it is a great little place. So let me go back here to it does all my movements as well. So the location is 211 Columbia Street, Mishawaka, Indiana. This is Zillow. If you haven't yet looked at Zillow, what it looks like, it's a great thing. It's already kind of listed. It's kind of like pending listing, but it's 5 bedrooms, 2 baths, technically one and a half, 1,500 square feet. You could see from the pictures, it's in pretty rough condition. It will probably need a lot of work, but the siding looks like the only thing that might be somewhat okay. I would be interested in seeing the roof's condition. I don't know exactly yet, but I've already made an offer because I know some other details. So windows probably need to get redone. They look kind of old. The inside looks bad. It's going to require quite a bit of work, but these are really the ideal types of properties for investors. I have a real estate agent who's already gone through this and has looked at this property, and he gave it to me as a pocket listing. And so he's given me really solid numbers. He's a guy I know and trust. And so this is why I'm comfortable going into a pretty beat up property like this. Unfortunately, it looks like there's some bad floor damage. I don't know if you guys see some of that. That's really unfortunate because that looks like it's hardwood floor. If some of that's redeemable, that would be great, but we'll just have to see, I guess. It's possible. It's possible it could be fixed. But you could see the windows are bad. I mean, we're talking this is a pretty beat up property. Kitchens, the layout's not terrible. It's not a galley kitchen, which I like, but it's a smaller kitchen for sure. But some natural light, which is nice. You could see just everything. It needs everything. The bedrooms are gross. That carpet is gross. Like it, I don't even know. Like looks like somebody stuffed some pillow or something up in there to kind of help insulate. So it's going to require quite a bit of work. Even here, you could see the part of the walls falling off. But honestly, these are the kinds of properties that are great for flips because really only an investor will buy this to flip it. And most of the time you're redoing a lot of this stuff anyway. Sometimes this looks like a lot of damage. Like I'll take this room, for example. Sometimes this looks like a ton of damage. Like you wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But in all reality, a lot of times this is mainly, you're going to scrape a lot of this and maybe redo the wall, put up new drywall, paint it, and when all that's done, you might not even recognize the room at all. New baseboards or fixing out the baseboards really well. So all of this, it is a mess. I've done a burr though like this before, and it worked out phenomenally. A lot of people are scared to touch these because it looks so bad, and it does. It looks really bad. This is kind of maybe just the picture. It doesn't look ideal. It looks like a small little toilet area, and then not a lot of room between the sink and the bathtub, but either way. It's got a little bit of a yard, though, some parking. The houses in the area look decent, too, which is nice. And so you've got, a nice little awning in the back. You could see clearly that needs some roof repair. So, I mean, we're talking, this is a fixer-upper. They're listing it or asking $60,000. We'll get into some of the details and what I've got a pending offer in, and I think will get accepted. In Zillow, though, you can see some other details here, which is really nice. You can see it's a single-family residence. You can see when it was built in 1928. You can see the size of the lot, so how big it is or whatever. The area you can see right here, and what's cool, you can see the street view. Once you know where it's at, if it's unlisted, you can zoom in and see the prices of those homes as well. And so what I like about this home is there's a nice park right here. There's a nice little walkway over here into some other downtown areas. Cam Island is really nice over here. And so it's in a good little area. We'll pull up the comps kind of in the area so you can kind of see some good details. You could often see tax records, the rent estimate. This is great for knowing, will it cash flow well once it's done? And then over here you can see some different details. So there's a pending sale. I know who this pending sale is. I know they're backing out of it because they've got too many flips going. They actually can't pick it up. It's taken too long. And I know the actual price they're getting it under contract. Here you can see tax estimates, property taxes. So there's some good information here. This is great right here. Sometimes you don't get this view, but you could do that back in the main Zillow search feature. You could zoom in and see the home prices, but really good walk score, really great bike score. That's fantastic. And then the schools are pretty decent. I know Mishawaka High School is actually a really good high school. But here, this is kind of what we're looking at. So this is the home right here. And look at the other homes that are on the block. You've got a 202 home. It's a 4.2, so this is a little bit bigger. But you could see the finishes of what this is selling for $200,000, right? The Zestimate is actually even higher. So this must have closed. You can probably scroll down and see when it was sold. So it was sold earlier this year for $202,500. So this is a confirmed sale price. It's already potentially worth more, which is great. Oh man, I shouldn't have done that. Let's back out. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Let's scroll back down to get those nice home comps. What else you got? Right across the street, you've got a couple 200,000 plus homes. Here's one that was 215. So this is a 4.3. This looks really nice, honestly. And knowing that there's homes like this right across the street can give you a lot of confidence, going in. So almost $250,000 home. It is, 4.3, so it's a little bit bigger in space. But great comp there. Then, man, I have to scroll down every time here for these. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Oh, this doesn't do the prices then if I do that. Let's look at, so this is a corner lot. I don't love doing that. Let's look at this guy here. 138. So this is a pretty comparable home in a lot of ways. It's a 3.2, about the same size. So there's fewer bedrooms. It doesn't look like it's been rehabbed though in a while. And the estimate is about 140 if it was to sell. So I'm saying all of that to say, this property, when I look at it, I know the area, I know some of the comps. You've got a lot of different homes kind of in the area with similar setups. A 3.3, about the same size, sold for 198. So you can see some of this and see if this was rehabbed well. Let me go back here. If this was rehabbed really well, this should ARV for about 160. And I'm not going into all the details of how I've found all that, but that's what that is. So now let's come over here and go into an easy offer calculator that will help you know, okay, if I've got some of the details on this, what can I offer for a property like this? Do a cash offer to get it under contract so that we can wholesale it. Well, like I said, I've already done a little bit of research and I know the ARV could be about 160 on the safe side because we're going to do a full rehab. That full rehab, I've gotten some basic quotes. will probably be anywhere from 45,000 to 60,000. So I am going to actually go with the higher number just to be on the safer side. So 60,000. All right. Now the wholesale fee, generally, we want this to be at least 8,000. I'm going to start though with 10,000, right? It's easier to start a little higher and then come down if you need to, but that is a healthy wholesale fee to make sure that you're getting a really good commission on a home like this without ever really having to do very much. So here it's telling you your max offer is $50,000. Now, what else is this taking into consideration? Well, this is taking into consideration the value, the target value for the investor that you'll be flipping this contract to will have a 75% ARV target value, meaning that when the investor buys this, he's paying for all of these. So he's paying $120,000 essentially. He's paying $10,000 to our wholesaling company for finding the deal and closing the deal and getting everything all set up. But the rest, essentially, he's buying the property for $50,000 because we'll get it under contract for him, and then he's going to put in $60,000 of work. But he knows at the end it will be worth about $160,000 or more, and that is essentially like him only having to put 75% of the cash value into the property. And why 75 is a magic number, sometimes it can go up to 80, but 75 is a magic number because when he does a cash out refinance or a mortgage, be it as a rental property, they will often want him to keep 20 to 25% of the equity in the home. Now, why do you think that's important? Well, if he can borrow the money for the down payment and borrow the money for the rehab, as most investors will do, when the whole thing is said and done, and the money for the wholesale, when everything is said and done, and he does a cash out refinance, meaning the bank will see this property and say, oh, it's like he owns this whole property. We'll cut you a check for 75 to 80% of the value of the home. They're going to cut him a check and start a mortgage with that amount. Guess what? If it's 75%, it's like he's getting all of the money back out that he's put into the property. He can pay off any hard money loans he has or private money loans he has. Maybe it's his own money, and he gets all of his money back out, and he now has this property that should be a cash flowing property, and he's got 25% equity. So this would be, at the end of this is essentially likely what the bank will have. The 25% is the equity he has in the house after all of this is done and the rehab is done. Hopefully that makes sense. What this can also do, let's say we want our wholesale fee to be $12,000. I don't recommend necessarily doing this, but now your max offer changes. Okay, it should be $4,800. Now I've got this property under contract for $40,000. So that gives me essentially a wholesale budget. I'm gonna keep this and burr this, but this gives me a wholesale budget of $20,000. So as an investor, this is really, really nice for me because I've already got my equity budgeted in the repairs and things like that. But now, personally, I have this cushion of another $20,000 so that if the rehab goes a little over, things like that, I'm still able to get all my money back out. Now, let's do something else. Let's say you want to find margin to see, can I charge a wholesale fee based on what they're asking or they're counter offering. So let's use the same example. You've already got the ARV. You already know your rehab number. You still got your target ARV, right? The value after the repairs. So let's say they're saying, you know what? It's $60,000 and we're really hard on that. We cannot go below $60,000. It has to be $60,000, no more, no less. Well, guess what? Based on these other numbers and based on your target value for the ARV target value fee, you've got a $0 wholesale fee. That's your wiggle room, your margin. If you were to take this under contract, likely you would not be able to charge anything as a wholesale fee to an investor. But let's say you can get the offer. Let's say you can negotiate them down to $52,000. Now, you know you can have an $8,000 wholesale fee. If you can get this under contract for $52,000, this is a good value. You could lock this up under contract and wholesale this to an investor and have confidence with these numbers. Now, to do this properly, I'm going to go back to the final offer. To do this property and to do it properly, you really want to make sure your ARVs are not a stretch. You want to make sure your ARV is pretty accurate. Your rehab numbers are pretty accurate. Now, you'll never be perfect on this, so don't worry about hitting perfection and having it really, really close. But you do want to have numbers that I would say are on the higher side just in case, and budgeting yourself a little bit of wiggle room. The better you do this as a wholesaler, the better you can have accurate ARV numbers and accurate rehab numbers, the more you will have investors who will buy from you, because they'll be confident that you're running your numbers well, you're doing a great job. When they actually do the fix and flip or they do the BRRRR and they come out and they make money on the deal, they're going to be ecstatic and they're going to want to buy from you again because you did them a huge favor. You did a good job finding a great property. So hopefully that's helpful. That's how I would kind of evaluate some of these properties. That's how you can kind of understand, is this worth it or not, and then make an offer.